What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nix on the mix, coming back with another banger of a video here today. I wanted to talk to you guys about analog hardware and some of my thoughts about, what do specifically rappers kind of need in regards to analog hardware. Okay, so generally when I think about analog hardware, I think of, back in the day, throwback studio, the richness, the creaminess, some of the vibe and the stuff that we love about making music. So right now I have a Camden, it's a Craneboard Camden preamp, and I also have the Golden Age 3A. So that's kind of my vocal chain right now, and I've been liking it a lot, but there is definitely some things that having analog hardware has taught me that I want to pass on to you guys. So one thing for sure about analog hardware is that, it makes things a lot easier. When you're recording with analog hardware, something as simple as a preamp can literally make your microphone sound better. Sometimes some microphones are underpowered. Some microphones come with cloud lifters, so a preamp is a good way of, making sure that your microphone is properly powered with enough gain to really bring out what's the power of your microphone. Sometimes people have an expensive microphone and they're plugging it into a cheap interface, and that interface can't truly power that microphone with enough dB and enough gain to really show the true characteristics of that microphone. So somebody might have a microphone and be like, I don't like this microphone because it just don't sound right. Well, maybe you just need a preamp sometimes to amplify what the good characteristics or the good traits of that microphone is. And I like having a compressor too, because I like keeping it in the analog world before it hits the DAW. A lot of my engineers that that have taught me and stuff like that, they always just tell me you got to get the cleanest signal going in. If you make it easy for yourself on the outside world before it hits the DAW, it's going to be a lot easier for you, in the way pretty much that the character of the vocals already there. All of the excitement of the vocals literally already in the take. So I always try to prioritize trying to get the best take. I prioritize coaching the artist, encouraging the artist. Oh yeah, run that back. Keeping their best takes too is another thing that I like to do. But with the analog hardware, for sure, it makes a huge difference. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if you're making rap music, all you need is a preamp and a compressor. Now, that's if you're just a rapper. If you're a mixer, depending on what your needs are, if you're a beat maker and you want to add a little juice, maybe you might want to get something, but it's not really necessary for rap mixing. It's not necessary. I feel like the Apollo Twin is a great resource too, because it kind of gives you the workflow that I already have right now with a real preamp and a compressor. And that Apollo Twin, the few preamps and compressors that you do get that you can use in console, they are enough to hold you over. I'm telling you, if you already have an Apollo Twin, you're pretty much good in regards to this. I would say that a preamp and a hardware compressor, that's kind of like the last thing that you really need. If you guys do want me to make a video about how to hook this stuff up, I can, but I feel like the most important thing with a home studio is getting the right interface and getting the right microphone, and maybe possibly some acoustic treatment. I feel a certain way about acoustic treatment too, because you got to understand, me, how I came up in music. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I used to record people in my car. I was so desperate in the beginning. Now I always knew how to rap my whole life, but there was people who they was like, oh, you're just a rapper, you're not no engineer, why would I let you record me? So I used to be desperate to record people, no cap. I used to pull up in my car, I used to record people in the back of my truck. I used to have to record people in all these type of crazy situations. And I used to have to record people in the back of kind of like alleyways, but in Florida, South Florida, where I'm at, it's kind of like apartment complexes. They have the little back port area. So I used to record. I've been recording people in all different types of ways, bathrooms, at their house. That's how I came up. That's how I gained experience, because I really love the game of engineering. So that's another tip too. You just gotta love what you do, and when you love the craft, you love engineering, it's gonna show love back to you. It feels good when you walk into the room and people are like, oh, it's the man of the hour, we've been waiting for you. That it feels good, but you gotta work hard to get to that point. So where that comes back to the analog vocals is, I feel like the main priority is just getting a really good microphone and a really good interface. The Apollo Twin is really good. There's a lot of good things out there. I even, recorded with my Focusrite the other day, and I was like, man, I'm recording into my Focusrite right now, literally. And I'm like, man, this Focusrite is pretty good. it's good enough to where the point that it's not gonna hurt the music, you know, it's gonna give it to you. So that's how I see equipment, you know. Don't ever blame it on the equipment. You know, the equipment is here to make it better, but it's not gonna be the reason why you're good. If I had Dr. Dre right here right now on a little Focusrite, how much you wanna bet it's still gonna sound good? Because it's not the equipment, it's about you. You know, sometimes you gotta hold yourself accountable. You gotta be like, man, you know, maybe I gotta get better. Maybe I gotta put an hour every day towards learning how to be a better mixer, you know. Sometimes it's not about the equipment. The equipment nowadays is so good to the point where like even the cheapest stuff is doable, you know. It will do the job, you know. All of that other expensive stuff, it will help, but it's not gonna be the reason why you sound good, you know. So with the analog hardware, you know, I had learned how to use all my tools before that. I would tell you that all the tools that you have right now, try to master those tools before you jump into trying to buy analog hardware. Because if you still have fundamental problems with like not learning how to properly record, proper levels, whoop-de-whoop, if you do get the hardware, you're gonna be like, oh, I got the hardware, but my mixes still don't sound good. Now you wasted some money, you know, which is something that I would never recommend to do. So try to perfect the tools that you have right now. You know, learn how to get good vocal takes, then along the way, save a little bit of money and make an upgrade. But with the 3.8, I just love it so much because just the way that it has that output transformer, like the gain, you know, which is what I always try to tell you guys, these analog plugins, they're modeled after like transformers and transistors and all of these like real components. You know, the analog vocals, it just makes it sound so much more real. That's all it does. It makes it sound more real, you know? It makes it sound less digital. How can I say? I don't know. It just has the personality is maintained, you know? Sometimes when you're doing a vocal take, you put it, it's like a picture, you know? For your engineer is kind of like a photographer. When you take a picture, you're capturing a live moment. But sometimes that feeling, that liveliness, the actual animation can be gone because recording is a still image, you know, like kind of like how a photographer would be, you know. Engineer, you're taking a still moment of like audio, you know. So sometimes that's why I'm saying I like the analog hardware, because it brings that life back. It just makes it feel so real. And I feel like if you do want to get analog hardware, you know, you have a little studio, I feel like you got to be a little bit smart, because when you buy the hardware, I'm telling you, I've run into a situation where I'm just taking off all the plugins, man. I'm like, these plugins are making it sound worse. And I never would think that, you know, because these plugins have been so helpful to me. But I think that if you do make the decision that, you know, down the line, I want to get the hardware, I think you gotta, you know, watch out with the plugins. You know, maybe get a basic Waves Gold bundle that's gonna hold you over, but don't try to jump on all the plugins. Because when you do get the hardware, something simple like a preamp, a compressor, a good microphone, and a good take, it don't really need that much more than that. I'm telling you, it's gonna literally sound radio ready. So those are just some of the benefits of how I feel about the hardware chain. I'm gonna drop the link down below if you guys want to look at it. My units did not cost too much. I got the preamp on sale. The 500 series version 2, it goes for $349. And I got the 3A, which went for $499. So in total, I didn't even spend like $1,000. I only spent like $800. So a little bit change, you know, Florida state tax, but a little bit change. But I feel like it's been a huge improvement. And if I would have known how good the hardware was, I'm gonna keep it real with you, there's probably some plugins that I would have never bought, honestly. But that's why I feel like in your home studio, you gotta purchase things with intention. So that's the moral of the story of today. In your home studio, maximize what you already have. Maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. That just doesn't go with engineering, but life in general.